why is it so difficult to get states to employ teachers, fill up the posts of police people or health people? Where does is it money, is it intent, or is it easier to do transfers?
Well, all very, very good and very tough questions. You know, I think one thing's very clear. I agree with what you said, that, and what Rajiv also said, that in a very important sense, the area where the state in a political sense, has to improve its performance hugely is now constitutionally in the domain of the state government. I mean, everybody knows that we are pretty backward on education, pretty backward on health, and those are really areas in the domain of state governments. It's also true that what you mentioned about the power sector. You know, distribution of power is entirely in the hands of state governments. And the unviability of the power sector is entirely due to the fact that the distribution system isn't working. I mean, there was a time when people felt that only a government organization can set up power stations. That's no longer true. I mean, for many, many years now, we've demonstrated that private guys will set up power stations, but private guys do not sell directly to consumers. They sell to a distribution company, which in almost all states is state-owned, with a few exceptions. Now, if you ask me, why is it that state governments of very different political persuasions have not moved to, in effect, privatize the distribution of power? If not for the whole state, at least for selected centers, I honestly don't have an answer. And I can only imagine that there isn't the political pressure on the part of people saying, look, this is your area. There is no excuse for non-performance. And I think this is the same thing holds for health and education. I mean, ultimately, look, an elected government responds to what its electors feel are the things it should deliver on, by and large. I can only assume that in our system, that is somehow not a pressure that state governments feel. Otherwise, they would be spending much more energy in getting these things done. You talked about not filling posts. Frankly, that is the consequence of their financial status. I mean, most of them are not in a position to actually spend the money needed to fill posts on a regular basis. The point being that if you do that, then you just have to pay. It's much easier to hire contract teachers, underpay them, not fill posts, mainly because the financial situation of far too many states is very, very poor. And I don't have a simple solution. I mean, I'm glad that the debate is shifting so that people are now asking state governments, what are you going to do? I'm sure the state governments are going to the center and saying, bail us out. Maybe in a few cases it might happen, but that's just not a viable thing over a longer period. And let's just hope that the political process sends the right signals to state governments of different political complexions. I mean, this is a general problem. It's not with any one state.
Yeah, ideas of India.